Hello and welcome to my first election coverage live from the brand new Spartan newsroom. I'm Julie Campbell. We're live all day today with our first ever Election Day coverage coming to you from Michigan State's campus. Our guest this afternoon is Brad Edwards of CBS Chicago. Thanks for joining us today. Brad, can you tell us a little about...
And good afternoon to everyone there at Michigan State. The studio looks fantastic. As a proud Spartan, proud of all the work you guys are doing. It's looking good, and glad you can kick things off here on what is certainly a momentous election day.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about how you and CBS go about covering the election?
Well, I mean, we are all hands on deck, no question about it. I typically here am an investigative reporter working our three reporter investigative unit along with our numerous producers. One of our investigative reporters right now is out at kind of the voting hub right now to check out if there are any anomalies. Another investigative reporter here is working on a report because November, as many of you know, is also sweeps. So we're in the midst of that. And we have reporters kind of spanned throughout the area. A lot of key elections, a lot of stations you'll talk to will say, well, we've got a lot of key elections, but I can't think of a market right now that has more interest in more elections than we do. Of course, the sitting president, President Obama, his hometown, his named hometown is Chicago. Of course, the Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton, born and raised in a Chicago suburb. Right across the state line, which is the region we call it, but is in our viewing area, is Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Lake County, Porter County. They, of course, have their governor as the vice president on the Trump ticket. We have also a hotly contested Senate race. Mark Kirk, the Republican incumbent, running against Congresswoman Tammy Duckworth. Both of them are running in a race that seems to be pretty tight. Tammy Duckworth of note because she is a paralyzed and wounded vet from the Iraq War. So there's a lot going on today. And here also on the heels of a giant 108 years in the making Chicago Cubs World Series victory. So some of us are running on empty a little bit, but of course juiced up again for today and what is going to be a momentous election evening.
Okay, and I'm very curious, is it hard to keep your own beliefs to yourself when you are covering the election?
No, absolutely. I mean, you just it's not even a part of it. I think you just have to learn to turn off when it comes to politics. You're there to get the facts. You're there to be completely unbiased. I don't think you need to do that in all stories. We are all human beings, and in some stories you will be touched emotionally, unlike others. But politics is a whole nother beast. You are there to cover the facts and just the facts, and you're there to sprinkle it with nuance. But you leave your opinions and you leave your feelings at the door. Not that we are robots, but when we are reporters and reporting on something as important as election and who's going to lead the country, lead the state, lead the local entities, you check your emotions at the door. You'll notice today I'm wearing a red vest. So some people would say red, that would lean right, but of course I'm balancing that with a blue tie, so that leans left. So I'm even down to my apparel, I am neutralized.
And for the people who might still be on the fence right now about voting, what one piece of advice would you give to those people?
Well, I think it's important, and this election might be more important because of just how differed the two candidates are. One thing that's interesting that we're seeing in Cook County is where Chicago is. Cook County has seen pretty high turnout so far, more than 50% already, and peak voting hours are likely to come. Likely going to be in the 70 to 75% overall voter turnout in Chicago, which will be right up there with the Obama years, which is very interesting. And we're also seeing a spike amongst millennials, your people, if you will. And part of that is believed because there's so many registered to vote, and there's a lot of things that come into play with that, and particularly the Bernie Sanders effect and how many people he got to register to vote. They're coming out to vote. There's nothing that I can tell you today that should motivate you more than when you look at the issues, look at where the candidates stand. That in and of itself should be that motivator.
Well, Brad, thanks again for talking with us today. You're watching live My First Election coverage from the Spartan Newsroom on Michigan State's campus. Stay tuned all day for election coverage and interviews with Spartan alumni and live newscasts at both 6 and 8 tonight.